Welcome to Small Town Big Life Podcast, coming at you from the tool shed behind Grace Fellowship Church in Avis, Pennsylvania. Today we have Ben and Kim Carson with us. Ben is one of the elders of the church, and Kim is head of the kids group, takes care of all the kids, longtime church members. We're going to talk about movie night, really. Movie nights every night, I suppose, but movies. This is all about movies. We talk about it all the time at church, and we're going to talk about it now. Here we go. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah? You excited to be here?
Sure.
How could you not be?
Yeah.
All right. So we talk about movies all the time. You guys tell me, hey, watch this. We watch this. This is good. And I tell you stuff, and then sometimes it's not so good. Maybe it's a series that I didn't find out till later was going to get canceled. But,
yeah, thanks for that one.
So I'm sorry. I didn't know until you told me. But anyway, that was that's television stuff. So we're really, I know we're gonna focus on movies. And man, there's so much we don't even know where exactly to start. But I guess let's start off with a real common question. All right, and then I don't care who goes first, but what movie are you most likely? What genre? Like, if you're channel surfing and you're alone, are you horror movie, gangster, comedy, action adventure? Where are we? What do you think?
You left out Western.
Oh my gosh, Western, yeah, yeah. There's a ton of those.
I don't know. I'm action adventure, I think.
Yeah,
for the most part, but I do like those Westerns with like True Grit, the new one, the old one.
I think Westerns, I grew up on them. You know, I think we're close to the same age. And newer ones, good ones are really hard to find.
They are.
I think they've lost the feel of what, I know movies have to change with every generation and the directing and the writing and all that kind of stuff. But since we're parked on Westerns for a minute, before we get to you, Kim, just in that genre, is there one or two that stick out? Because there are for me. I mean, old one and new one, and kind of new.
Well, I like John Wayne, the old ones.
Love John Wayne.
Clint Eastwood.
Yep.
Those movies. Even the newer, the Pale Rider, I call that new, but it's probably, 90s?
I didn't see, there was a remake of it?
No, it was Clint Eastwood. But I don't know if it was done.
Pale Rider was like the 70s or 80s.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So 30 or 40 years ago, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I'll watch them on TV all the time when I see them.
Those two guys set the standard. I mean,
they did.
That's the cowboy. That's when no one can say Western without thinking of those two guys.
Right.
And I've never heard anyone say, man, I don't like Clint Eastwood. Or I don't like John Wayne. Or I mean, I've never heard. So the Pale Rider is one that sticks out?
Pale Rider, True Grit.
Do you count
the new one?
Do you count Quigley Down Under?
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen that. I just assumed it was about kangaroos or something.
No.
Wasn't that Tom Selleck?
Yeah, that was Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
And that's a Western?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Would you throw it in the Western kind of?
He's got a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
It is. He's
maybe. He's from Texas.
Okay. Well, all right. I've never.
Oh, you have to watch that one.
It's on my list.
Okay.
Mental note. I like. I love the Clint Eastwood stuff, the John Wayne stuff, and it's funny because you said, I said that's 70s or 80s because I was just thinking of one that I was going to call more recent, and it's 90s, and that's Young Guns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Young Guns were both done really well, and they were consistent with history, and so
Tombstone.
Everyone loves that, and I've never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, and everyone says you haven't seen Tombstone. What's the matter with you? And I'm like, I don't know. I just haven't seen it.
There's some good lines for Tombstone.
Oh, yeah.
I'm your huckleberry.
I'm your huckleberry.
I hear that. I hear that a lot. And I don't know what it means, so I'm gonna have to watch it. But yeah, John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, and in the whole 80s, everyone's going around, make my day. That's so there were T-shirts that said it. And What about you, Kim?
I can watch anything, but horror. I don't like horror, and probably some of the more rougher gangster movies.
Right.
But I'm down for anything, really.
when you say more rougher gangster movies, what do you?
Like Scarface, I can't watch.
Yeah, it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't need to park there a lot. I think we all know what Scarface. But you know what? What we could talk about that movie is how much of a massive departure it was from the remake. You know, it was a remake, and the original one was nothing like that. I think it was James Cagney. It was like in the 30s or 40s or something, and that's because it was called Scarface. And you go back and watch it, and you go, "What does this have to do with?" I mean, they're not. It's like they're not even
close. Huh?
No, not even at all. Huh. So, I think they just took the concept. What about you, Jackie? Is there one genre that you're?
I watch a lot of war movies.
Yeah.
So a lot of World War II movies, Vietnam. You know, I like a good action movie.
Yeah. Like what sticks out?
Platoon.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
Or like Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, that's another one. Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, wait a minute, yeah, that was amazing.
Thin Red Line. The Deer Hunter technically is a war movie.
Yeah, that would. Yeah. I think that falls in there.
Yeah, the Deer
Anytime
Hunter
you're dealing with vets or soldiers or veterans, I think that kind of falls in that.
Yeah.
Classification.
I wrote down Band of Brothers, but it's not a movie.
Well, it might as well have been, as long as it was.
It's
that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really, really well done.
How about you?
Me, man, okay. Well, see, I'm boring when it kind of like documentaries, but I suppose I like suspense and drama, action, adventure type stuff. Comedy, now I love comedies, but there's so few that are good. And it's like, I mean, if they're not aimed at 15-year-olds, I mean, that's like what a lot of movies are. And they're not that funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And there's some movies that aren't a laugh a minute, but are still funny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of the last time I laughed pretty hard at a comedy. As a pastor, I can't say some of them because I'm ashamed that I watched them. But they were a while. It's been a while. I like movies that move at a kind of an even-keeled pace. And so if you say like all the genres that I like and mix them together, a little bit of action, a little bit of drama, a little bit of comedy, you'd come up with something like As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like that movie had, I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember Jack Nicholson. And I remember the dog. And have you ever seen that movie?
Never watched it.
Okay. Well, it won like a gazillion Oscars. I can't believe you haven't seen it. I thought I was on board late too. People looked at me like I had lobsters crawling out of my ears. You haven't seen that? You haven't seen that? And
well, it's heavy. It's heavy, but it has these really bright comedic moments.
You think it's heavy? Well,
think about who gets the crap beaten out of him and why.
Yeah, but it's the movie. Okay. It's kind of heavy, but it's personal.
It is. It's very personal.
Whoever watches the movie can take it personal because you can see someone, the characters are done so well that you see a little bit of yourself in each one of them. Mm-hmm. And that's great movie making, great storytelling. If you can do that, that's hard to do. I mean, but anyway. So
it's probably one of those where you look at it and, is there any action in this thing? No, forget it. Yeah,
and there's movies like that. I used to be like that, and then you change. I mean, I don't know. You get burned out seeing the same stuff. Our tastes change. Some people watch cornier stuff as they get older. I don't know. I mean, there's corny stuff I watch, but it's TV. It's not movies. So
yet I liked Age of Adeline. Mm-hmm. Which is probably the one I'd be ashamed to admit.
What's that? What is that?
Oh, you gotta watch it.
Age of Adeline?
Harrison Ford.
Blake Lively.
That's her name. I was trying to come up with it. Blake Lively, and she is an immortal?
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's just say it that way.
I think Kim was watching it, and I walked in and said, "What is this?"
And
you're welcome.
And I started watching. I thought, boy, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Who wins when you guys talk about Ben does?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do I.
Yeah.
So
the girls and I So, like, there's movies I watch with him, but then, like, the girls are like, oh, you want to watch this? I'm like, yeah. And then, you know, if he comes in and it's 3 against 1, it's like, have a seat. We're watching this.
Yeah.
But mostly, he has control.
I do subtle things to get control. Like if Grace wants to watch something, I'll say, all right, well, I'm going to go out and run into the river screaming.
Yeah.
So when it's over.
I'm going to go sit at the computer, you know, and when I can come sit in my chair, just let me know.
Exactly. She's actually very kind to me, and which is really weird because Grace, my wife, never gives me a hard time about what I want to watch, really. And once in a while, she'll say, I don't want to watch this. And then I get offended, like, why?
Yeah,
like I can't just give her that little bit of leeway because she never complains, and it's like I get offended, like, how dare you? So I want to hold the remote up and go, this belongs to me. I pilot this thing. You know, but no, yeah, I know it's funny.
Well,
I usually win.
Jackie, did you watch Age of Adeline?
No. But I know what it is.
What is it? Like, is it adventure? Is it a drama?
Oh my gosh, no! It's a chick flick.
It's a chick
It's
flick,
a
yep.
major
Chick flick.
It's like Hallmark movie level chick flick.
Wow, Ben. Things are different between us now, man. So okay. I'm trying to think if there's if I've ever, thank you.
It's a good plot.
If I've ever seen a chick flick that, yeah, I have. I saw a chick flick that I liked a lot. Stepmom.
Oh, that's sad.
It's sad, but it
is a chick flick, though. It's absolutely chick.
I watched it. I watched it twice.
Susan Sarandon,
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
Oh, I like Ed Harris.
Yeah, but he's awesome in it. He's I don't even know how to describe. They're a divorce, and he's got a new wife, and the kids are trying to adapt to the new wife, and the ex-wife and the new wife, or there's friction, and the ex-wife has cancer, and so then there's awkwardness and sadness involved, and there's just a whole just navigating real life relationships, kind of tough stuff, but it's got a unifying theme. I mean, you say it's sad, but it's got a unifying. There's a feel good element to it. I mean, it's not, you don't, I mean, I remember the end of it, I wasn't like, oh, this is just awful. I mean, I remember thinking it was a little uplifting. It's So Ben, put that on your chick flick list.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. It's called Stepmom.
Well,
guys.
The Age of Adeline is kind of like the Green Mile. You know,
Okay.
Remember in the Green Mile,
Yep.
the guy continues on.
Right.
So the Age of Adeline is kind of in that.
So you just gave away the end.
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right, I didn't give away. Okay.
Nope.
All right.
You're good.
Okay. All right.
You got to watch it. Grace will be happy.
Okay.
What?
I'm just making sure I'm still not on Phantom. Okay, good. No, I'm not.
You're
I was
fine.
I know. Okay. Did you talk about your Did you talk about your favorite genre already?
She did.
Yeah, I did.
We did. We went.
And then I went
We
to
went
you.
full circle. I'm just looking at our note.
I made a huge list.
We're never going to get through it.
You said movies that make you think about your mom and dad. I don't watch movies that make me think about my mom. If I do, it's time to turn it off.
No. Well, like, for me.
No. I don't mean I don't love my parents. I mean, I don't know. It's that weird vibe. Like if you're watching an R movie and your mom's in the room, you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's not
well,
what
I'm
I
going to
meant.
take off.
That's not what I meant.
No, like I took it as, and so I put my grandmother, so Sound of Music for
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
you know, because
Oh, I
we
see
were
what you're saying.
always at her place. It's always on in the holidays, so that's
Yeah.
when we would be visiting my grandmother. She lived in West Virginia, so
Right.
So you know, I would sit there and watch Sound of Music with her every year. So that's how I took your
Yeah,
question.
that's how I meant it.
My mom was all about Christmas movies in July and everything.
Yeah.
Year round, she'd watch Hallmark
Oh, yeah.
Hallmark videotaped Christmas channel, and so I think about her when certain Christmas movies make me think about. But I don't know. That's kind of universal for a lot of people because Christmas you spend with your parents, and so that probably doesn't count.
My mother loved On Golden Pond.
Oh,
That was a good movie.
That was.
That won a boatload of Oscars too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really call that a chick flick. I would call that. It's kind of like Mr. Church. It's just life
it's
experience.
just good.
Yeah.
Katharine Hepburn,
Yeah.
Henry Ford
Henry
or Fonda.
Fonda.
Henry
Yeah,
Fonda.
that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to come up with.
Yeah.
And Hannah and Jane, she was in it.
Yeah, Jane Fonda
Oh, yeah.
was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And my dad loved Forrest Gump.
Oh, I loved, man, Forrest. I didn't want that movie to end when I was in the theater. I was like, I wanted to keep going. I couldn't,
Yeah.
that movie hit me hard. It encompassed so much history from the previous three or four decades.
Yeah.
And they did so much with it. I was just like,
Forrest Gump.
that's it.
That's all right.
I mean, yeah, man, that's unique, and there's still nothing like it. And man, yeah, I've probably, that's one of those movies, if I'm channel surfing or something and I see it, I always park there for because I can't take my eyes off of it. It's a unique. I saw him in an interview, Tom Hanks, talking about Forrest Gump, and he said an interesting thing. Somebody talked about Forrest being mentally challenged or something like that, and he said, I don't think that's what made Forrest Gump so interesting. I think what makes him interesting is that he can't lie. He doesn't lie. And I thought that's a pretty good observation, except when he talked about that one little white lie.
Yeah.
But it was okay because Mama said.
It's okay. Mama said it was, yeah. But I thought, yeah, that's an interesting observation.
That would have been good to do a second one.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. And you something that classic when you try. I mean, I wanted that too. I'm like, man, they better make a sequel. But
Yeah.
They would have ruined it.
Yeah.
I know,
Somehow.
yeah. Right.
Haley Joel Osment would have.
Yeah. Teddy bear picnic. Bring in.
To Return of the Jedi. Remember? Ends with a teddy bear picnic.
Jar Jar
in the
comes walking
trees.
through.
Yeah.
You know.
They would have ruined it. So yeah, it's better left where there are movies that are just like nuclear bombs in a specific decade when everyone has seen it. For me, around that, I remember this. This is the weirdest thing I remember, because when I would go to the grocery store for some reason, and at the time they had, when you'd scan your card to pay for stuff, a little box came up to vote for your favorite movie at the Oscars that year.
Oh, yeah.
And which was weird. It was only at the grocery store in our neighborhood. And so I voted. I hadn't seen any of the movies. And the movies I could vote for were Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption, and I forget the other one.
All
and that's how I remember.
Same year.
Yeah, those all came out in the same year. And I was like, I mean, at the time, I hadn't seen any of them. So I just automatically picked Shawshank Redemption. And then I saw it, and I was like,
Wow.
pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. Did you see that?
I was going to say I never watched it.
Oh, it's epic.
It is epic.
It is epic.
It's man, it's a.
You got to be in the mood.
The type of movies you said you like. I don't mean chick flicks. I mean the other type of movies. The
Other
Yeah,
bands,
yeah.
yeah. You would really enjoy it. It's
Written by Stephen King.
Yeah,
Okay.
and but it's not a horror movie.
It's not a horror movie
But
at all.
it's
It's
I can't believe
fantastic.
you haven't seen it. It's good.
Yeah.
Well, Pulp Fiction I have on my worst.
Yeah.
Kim and I walked
We walked
out
out
on
of
that
it.
movie.
I don't know if we can be friends.
That's what he said. He's like, I know Jackie will probably love this one.
Well, because
No.
he
Okay.
named a movie after me, for goodness sakes.
No, but listen, Jackie Brown.
He did.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, we talked about this one. I don't know if it was when we were talking about Star Wars or not, but Quentin Tarantino is a talented writer and a talented director. But this shock value stuff he puts in is like unnecessary and it
Yes.
ruins
That's
it.
where
like,
I'm at.
And I'm like, dude, you had a good thing going here with the story. And, it's like a kid mentality to say, well, I want to put something shocking in and this will really get them. And I think to myself, it's not necessary. First of all, and the human imagination is way more powerful than any image that you can spoon feed someone. That's why comedy and horror are more effective when they're insinuated rather than when they're shown to you. Like in film school, there's a phrase they use for filmmakers, and it's called the Spielberg Look, and it's a reference to when you're watching a Steven Spielberg movie and the characters are looking at something amazing going on over there, or when they look at the shark, they don't show the shark, they don't show what's going on over there, they show the character's face. And as an audience member, when you see that, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's your own imagination starts really turning, and something's up. So they call that the Spielberg look. Okay, give me the Spielberg look. You're going to look that direction, but that's more powerful than just saying, well, I'm just going to have a boatload of profanity and nudity and gratuitous violence, and I'm really going to hit people. And I'm like, it's a shame because Quentin Tarantino is really gifted writer. He's a really gifted director. He just if he limits his audience.
Yeah.
He cuts out a lot of, and it doesn't make the movies better. They'd be more powerful if he took the subtle, clever approach with stuff. But I mean, I don't know. So I'm assuming, I don't know, but I'm assuming that's what you had a problem with. One of those scenes popped
Yes.
up, and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, and it's really
Yeah.
If you know anything about me, like I will watch to the end. Like he'll walk off. He'll turn. He's like, I'm done watching this. I'm like, no, I have to see how this ends.
Get
And
some
no
closure.
matter how
She
bad
has
this
to.
move, I have to see how it ends. And that is the only movie I've ever like done. I can't. And we
Yeah.
left.
I mean, I can understand. It is hard to take, especially a couple of scenes that I'm thinking of right now
Yeah.
that we're not going to talk about. But if you look at Quentin Tarantino, like you said, as a writer, like some of his dialogue is brilliant,
Yeah.
and some of the banter is brilliant. But yeah, he
Who
is.
did Born on the 4th of July? Was that him as well?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was another one that was kind of.
That's got to
Well,
be your worst, because I'll say, look, Born on the 4th of July is on. Kim, you want me to watch this? No.
She don't like it. You
I don't
like
like that one either.
I've
no.
never seen it.
That one's.
It got.
Yeah.
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 It went extreme like that,
Did it?
but with a veteran.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was just, yeah. It was Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Tom Cruise.
My wife gets really offended with. I mean, she'll get up, turn this off. I don't want to watch this. I can't. Like language.
Yeah.
We just had this happen a week ago. We were watching something, and they said there was some profanity or something, and she said, "Oh, really? Turn it." And I hit pause, and I go, "What?" And she looked at me real serious. She goes, "You don't even hear it, do you?" And I said, "Oh yeah, the profanity. Yeah, I hear it." I go, I just it goes past me. I go, or something, and you know, because I told her, I said, as a pastor, I mean, I talk to these guys in prison, who every other word is the F word, and they keep saying, "Oh, I'm sorry," and bogging down the conversation to apologize to me for offending me, and I say, just tell me what's on your heart and quit apologizing, and they inadvertently can't get through it without cussing. But I listen to what's going on. So when I watch movies, there are movies where I'm like, okay, this is it gets just too much. It's ruining it. It's ruining the story. But my wife has a shorter fuse than I do with the profanity. So it'll start to irritate me. My meter will be like this, and she's pegged.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want to watch this. And
That's probably me.
and as a pastor, I told her, I said, listen, I recognize junk and garbage and things that are unnecessary all the time. I see them on posters in grocery stores for selling beer. I see them on TV commercials. I see them in kids' programming. I go, I have to let some stuff go by me, because if I stop and correct everything I see that's wrong, I'll sit at home and stare at the wall all day.
Right.
And I go, you know, in terms of your relationship with God, you got to get past it. But you also you can't fill your head with
Yes.
filth because it affects you. And
Right.
It works on you. I think I've got thicker skin to not let it inside for some reason. Maybe it's because I was so obnoxious when I was younger before I got right with God.
Got over it.
Maybe. I don't know. But what's your meter like when you watch? Yeah, that's a good question. What have you ever watched a movie and you're like, no, I'm done.
Yes.
This is too much.
I don't have a problem with it's okay. I don't have a problem with much profanity. With me, it's the really, really, really gory stuff, like
Yeah.
Saw, those movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even
yeah.
watch it.
I got through like the first one and the second one, and then we went to see the third one, and they were severing the heads of pigs and on a conveyor belt, and I almost threw up right there in the theater. It was just like, I'm done. I'm sorry. I can't do anymore. That's about it with me, though. Just really nasty, gory.
Yeah.
Because I miss the suspenseful,
Like The Shining.
like The Shining.
You like more like the yeah.
You know, a
Suspense.
thriller.
Yeah,
the
thriller, yeah.
original Halloween movies.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, there
that
was
kind
no
of thing.
blood, I think, in the first one.
Oh, really?
no. So, what about you, Ben? What makes you get up and say, I'm done?
Well, I was thinking like Scarface.
Yeah.
On the chainsaw scene, I think I can't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can't.
that'll
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
But some of these, it's like they're forcing the profanity dialogue on the actors,
Yeah.
and it seems unnatural. You know,
It does. It's also a cop-out. I've heard directors go, well, we want to portray characters like real life. And I think to myself, I live in real life, and I was around bad people in real life, and they didn't
Right.
they didn't act and cuss this much all the time. So don't tell me it's real. I mean, come on, dude. And
Right.
so I'm with you, man. Scarface was, they fought to keep that scene in the movie. They did.
Really?
Well, yeah, it was. They told them to take it out. So they fought and fought and fought. So they edited it and used different angles. They did everything they could to get that to stay in the film. It was that important to them. So they did. And the work that went into making that movie is staggering. And there was a massive year and a half of preparation and acting and all kinds of stuff. And so they fought really hard for everything. But something like that's unnecessary.
What do you think? They can make movies as good as Godfather.
Exactly.
And then when they do Scarface, they have to go down that road. I think you don't need to do that. And it's the same actor.
No, I guarantee if you walked around anywhere, I mean, if you just put out a poll, Godfather will destroy Scarface in the fandom.
gosh. Yeah.
I mean,
so.
there's not even, and you're right. It's classy storytelling, and you don't. Yeah.
You don't need all that.
No. It's distracting.
It is.
It's distracting. It distracts you from the elements of the human condition within the film. And when I was younger, I thought, oh, wow, ooh, and oh, you got me there, and that was gross. But then as I got older, I realized it's distracting me from the story
Yeah.
when it gets excessive. What about you, Kim? Is that
Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm like Grace. The profanity gets me to a certain point, and then I'm like, oh, come on, I'm tired of this. But violence that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
What was that Ryan Reynolds movie that was on Netflix? Like somehow that was seen.
Deadpool.
Not. It was. He was a really rich guy, and.
I can't remember.
but
Had a
that-
team of guys with him.
But the opening scene, like it would cut to like you'd see the bullet like penetrate through the arm, and just it was really graphic. And I'm thinking, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I didn't see it.
I'm not sure.
I'll have to Google it.
So violence and sex. Sex is another thing that actually I think is, I don't know. It's one extreme or the other. Like in the 80s, it seemed like it was a prerequisite that it be in a lot of movies. And
Yes,
Right.
that's
And
what
then-
I just said to the girls.
Yeah, and then now it's either like Netflix goes way overboard with stuff, and it's distracting from the storytelling too. But I mean, it's like, man, this is when I see that start coming into the film and going too far. I'm like, dude, this is for 15-year-olds. I mean, this is for kids who are listening to make sure their parents aren't coming and their friends are staying all night to go watch this. And that's the boys being, doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. That's that kind of stuff. And that's like, oh, come on, man.
Like American Pie.
That
stuff.
Those kind of, and there's a market for those movies, and that's why they make them.
Yeah.
That stuff is, I don't know, it's dangerous.
Just stupid.
It is stupid. Yeah. Speaking of that, I don't know if this was on the list. I haven't looked yet, but movies that a lot of people loved and then told you to go see, and it was awful, right? The Hangover. The Hangover. A few years back, that movie came out, and everyone told me how funny it was. And Grace and I kept hearing it. And I said, well, all right. So I think we rented it because this was when Blockbuster was down the street.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is dumb. This
It
is like
was so
7th grade humor.
stupid.
It's just people. Yeah, they're just, I mean,
It's fart
did you see it?
jokes.
Yes.
It's awful. Don't tell me. Oh, that's one of my favorites.
No.
I do like dumb
That
stuff,
and Steel Magnolias.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
Wow.
I interrupted. What did you say?
I do like dumb comedy, though.
Oh, me too.
Ace
Dumb and
Ventura.
Dumber?
Yeah.
Me too. I was crying laughing and watching that. I love that stupid stuff. Airplane.
Airplane,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
That's
Shirley.
Spaceballs.
Do you like Monty Python?
Yeah, some of it.
Some of it? Yeah.
But Spaceballs, I thought was pretty
I
funny.
mean, Spaceballs and Caddyshack, you can quote those all day.
Oh, yeah. They're
Right.
classics. I can quote Monty Python just about every movie, every line, But
I have walked into, like, when I worked at the newspaper, or, when I walked into a new place with a whole new team of employees under me and I start quoting Caddyshack on the first day.
they get it.
They're like, all right, you're cool. We're in.
If you know Caddyshack,
All right.
yeah. There's a million quotes too from Talladega Nights.
Oh yeah.
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 I'm jacked up on Mountain Dew, Chad. I'll come across this table to you like a spider monkey.
Oh, those kids.
And then there's one in there. I'm gonna go get some whiskey. And
Is that what that's from? I didn't
yeah,
know what that
that's
was from.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna get some whiskey and do something. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Got to get through all the Star Wars.
See if it's in there.
conquest
It's in there
first.
somewhere.
Well, under movies you could watch over and over, I put A Few Good Men.
Ooh,
That's
Oh,
a good one.
That me too.
yeah.
I
Me
watch
too.
that a lot.
I had to. That movie is one of the best movies ever. When I was in school in theater and majoring in theater, we had to do a monologue from a play, because that was a play
Okay.
that they made it into a movie, and it was for your final for the semester. And you probably think, well, what's the big deal? But it's a monologue. It's a few paragraphs, and you have to remember it. So it's a lot. You got to remember it, and you got to do it right. And then people watch actors on TV. And go, that's easy. Well, it's not easy.
Right.
And so my monologue was Colonel Jessup's
At the end.
Spiel.
in court.
Yeah.
It goes, we live in I used to remember the whole thing with walls. And I prefer you say thank you. Pick up your weapon and stand up. Except I did it was really, it wasn't like his. It was more not belligerent, angry. And I got an A too. But so now every time I watch that, when he does that, because it was made into a movie, I go with him. Like, in the country.
Well, Jack Nicholson
Appreciate
just
just take up a weapon, stand up.
amazing.
Yeah, I every time I see that, man, that movie is so. The whole cast crushes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody in that cast crushes it. Yeah. I mean, that's a good one. That's a good one to bring up. That's a great. That's another one when I'm channel surfing.
Yeah. So a movie
Yeah.
that, like, if it's somewhere in the channel, okay, that's it. That's what I'm watching.
Yeah. Yeah. So
For
yeah.
me, it's The Godfather.
Godfather.
Oh yeah.
Big time. There could be a marathon on. This happened last year. There was something on. Grace and I we're going to go get something to eat and go to Lowe's. I don't know what he's going to do. And, Godfather.
Godfather.
So we sat there. I looked over at her. I go, we've been sitting here for 4 hours and 20 minutes. And she goes, I know. I don't know why. Just every time it's on, I don't know what happens. And I go, yeah, well, I have no regrets. We can start making excuses. We needed to relax today.
Yeah. Yeah.
We needed a day to relax.
Yeah, we
And,
needed a break.
And yeah, Fredo, you broke my heart.
Broke my heart. I didn't know it was you.
What about Godfather 3?
That's nope, not for me. I mean, I know that people say, well, it's important to close out the trilogy, but I don't need to. If we get past 2, I'm good. I don't need to go into 3.
Because they ended 2 in a way that made sense. And
Right.
it closed the story. And we didn't need 3. But they said, well, hey, 1 and 2 made so much money.
Yeah.
and it had been a long time.
Mary, what's her name? Coppola girl.
Oh,
Mary.
Sophia.
Sophia.
Yeah,
She's painful to watch.
yeah.
She's
Yeah.
a very good director.
Okay.
But acting-wise, yeah, it is painful.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's a lot of it takes place in the opera house, and it's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
So there was on TBS several years ago, they took The Godfather and The Godfather 2, and they edited them to show everything
In order.
in order, because all of the flashbacks that are in 2.
Oh, the coda.
So
The
it's
coda.
and I thought, man, that was brilliant. They should put that out that way. And
It's on, I don't know what channel it's on, but I just saw it.
Did they did it?
Okay.
You saw it where they did that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on, it might be TBS. I don't know.
I still catch stuff that I've when I watch The Godfather, all the conversations, I'll go, wait, what did he say?
Yeah.
Oh, because last time I thought it was, and I don't know how many times, I had to have seen it like up in the 30s, how many times I've seen that movie.
I've seen The
And I'm
Godfather more times than I've seen Star Wars. So if
Ooh,
that tells
wow.
you anything.
Wow.
That's saying something. Well, I think I've seen them both about the same, but I still catch dialogue and catch meaning and catch little things in The Godfather that I didn't catch, before.
Yeah.
There's this moment after the horse is in the bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And it pans back to Marlon Brando, and he's sitting there, and you can tell that Tom is telling him the story about what happened. And then he kind of goes like that. He just goes
Like he's
like
satisfied.
he's impressed
Like he's impressed.
that Tom
yeah.
would go
Like-
ahead and do that by
Yeah.
himself.
And that's another thing you would talk about. that just to rewind for a second, we're talking about violence and gratuitous violence. In a movie now, they would show that. They would show somebody killing the horse, and they would show.
They would ruin it.
They would ruin it.
They would ruin it if they redid it now.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope that
For sure.
a lot of people would be upset.
Yeah.
If they shot that whole movie in low key too, so it's like the scenes are dark and
Beautiful.
And he said he wanted it that way because when they're in his office, and he wants the audience to kind of squint a little bit because the viewer should feel like they're listening in on something they're not supposed to be. And that's how you you use light and color palettes to catch a mood in people. And The Godfather did it. And you feel that sets the tone. When you shoot something in low key, the audience feels like, "Ooh, I'm not supposed to be hearing this." I'm not supposed like when he was in there at the wedding.
Yeah.
And they were showing up wanting favors.
Yeah.
You come to my house and you're going my daughter's wedding and you've never invited me. Yeah, that whole. Yeah.
So is that a movie you can watch over and over again?
Yeah. I'll do the same thing. It'll come on and we'll both.
You're like, all right, that's my day.
We're get a pizza. Godfather's on.
Her daughter, Emily, one of her professors ordered him to watch it.
Good.
So
Yeah.
her and I watched it. And then we were on vacation, Dewey Beach last week or a week before. And she found The Godfather playing and she parked there.
Yeah.
You know?
And if she's like, well, I don't know if you guys like me. Maybe you pay attention better, but I catch new stuff every time.
Mm-hmm.
I still catch little things.
Yeah, I do too. Because when they talk,
it sometimes it goes fast and it's low. They're talking like this to each other.
Sometimes it takes you forever to get all the characters down in your head too, like the names. And so then when you watch it a second or third or fourth time, you're like, okay, I never heard him say that about that guy before.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's a ton it never gets old because you catch that new stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. I totally agree. So 1 and 2, De Niro. I'm trying to think of. You said your daughter had to watch because in school we had to watch certain movies for certain reasons and like film class.
Okay.
And one of them was Jaws.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Jaws meets a lot of categories on the lists that we talked about for me. It was the first movie that terrified me.
Yeah, that was on mine.
I covered my eyes and my ears when the music, because in a movie theater, I'm a little tight. I think I'm 10 or something. Dun, 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 and it's loud and it's filling the whole theater.
Yeah.
But Spielberg, that's the Spielberg look when Brody's throwing the fish out. The shark comes up and he gets back and he looks. We're going to need a bigger boat and cigarettes hanging off his mouth. All that kind of stuff. I mean, that movie made me afraid to get in the bathtub.
I remember being at the ocean and I'm like, I'm not putting my feet down. Like I'd stay up on my little boogie board or raft. I'm just like, I'm not touching it.
Yeah. And when you're in the water, I learned that I react the same way. Whether it's a great white shark touching my leg or a piece of seaweed.
Yes, I know. I still jump. I'm just like,
I'm out of there. Yeah. So I'm at the pool.
That one did. That one got me.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The acting in the script made it good. It wasn't even the shark. The shark was the star, but it was the cast. It was the acting.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard, all of them. Yeah. There were so many great lines from that movie too. Are you rich?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How? He goes, a lot. How much do you have? He goes, a lot. Remember when he's asking him about his boat? He goes, this stuff's expensive. Are you rich? Yes. I remember, do not smoke in here and you'd love to prove that, wouldn't you? Get your name in the National Geographic.
Oh, jeez.
So, and if I've got one of the anniversary box sets of it, and what a mess it was making that movie, man.
Okay.
They had such a hard time. The people where they were filming it at Martha's Vineyard, they didn't want them there. They hated them. Because people were trying to been on vacation and enjoy themselves, and they're closing parts of the beach to film a movie. Ooh. And the shark kept not working, so they had to film at different times, and it had to be right when the sky, because when you shoot a movie during the day, the sky has to look the same if it's in the same scene. And so the people there hated them and wanted them out of there. And so then you get a bunch of, and Robert Shaw was drunk all the time, and that irritated people, but he was the classic actor that had to be treated good, and he got on Dreyfuss's nerves. And there's just so much, but it's funny when you watch the making of it. I'm sure you'll catch it sometime. If not, I can loan you the DVD. I still have one of those. And it's I like stories like that when people fought tooth and nail, went over budget. It was a struggle, and the director with sweaty hands turns it in at the end of the day, and then it becomes this massive hit.
Yeah.
You know? So there's a lot to be said for Jaws.
What's a movie that terrified you other than...
Poltergeist.
Yes.
I would leap into my bed for weeks because I was afraid some stupid clown was going to come out and yank me under. I kid you, I still don't like clowns.
Were you more afraid of the clown or the creepy little short lady?
The clown. But no, I know who you mean. Yeah. No.
Run to the light, Carolyn. All is well in the light. Run to the light.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, then my dad used to tell me that he thought our house was haunted. He thought, because the guy died in our house. Mm-hmm. So then he's always like, he lives in the attic. And my bedroom had the door to the attic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't he put a dummy?
So you would have a ton of reasons to be
my
terrified.
Gosh. And then he, when I was, teenager going out with my friends coming home later, he would put, he had a stupid Emmett Kelly clown doll, and he would put it in my bed.
Oh, that's just mean.
Oh, that is mean. That's
Man. I hate clowns too,
wrong.
by the way.
Yeah.
You might want to talk to him on Sunday if he's here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Jeez, dude, a little extreme.
He still has it.
Any movie scare you besides?
It's probably the first Halloween. I saw that when I was
Yeah.
on TV when I was probably 12. That was pretty creepy.
It was creepy.
Yeah.
It was really. It was. I thought it was creepy too. At the time, I know some kids now watch movies and they don't understand that we didn't have the movies now to hold them up against to compare them. That was groundbreaking stuff.
Right.
Like the camera lens showing through the eyes of Michael when he was young, and
Right.
the mask and and not knowing what's around the corner. I mean, that was Halloween and Friday the 13th were the first movies to, I think, be clever with that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. No, it scared me too, man. I was a kid, yeah.
The music's good, though.
Yeah. Used to be my mother-in-law's ringtone. Anyway.
Yeah. The Exorcist. The Exorcist was, man, I have a funny story about The Exorcist. I think everyone has seen The Exorcist, right?
Yeah.
That movie it scared me witless.
Yeah.
Witless.
Okay. Yeah.
And later in life, in my 20s, I had a girlfriend. Her father was a very strict Catholic guy, very, very religious guy. And I'm Drew, long hair, rock and roll guy. So I go over to their house one night, and it's just her and I, and he's in his office or whatever, and he goes to bed. So we went to Blockbuster, rented The Exorcist, watched The Exorcist. Okay, no big deal. But when I left, I forgot I left it there. I left it on the VCR, and I knew her dad was going to find it. So I didn't remember until halfway through the next day. I'm like, oh, no, I left it. So I went over to get it because I had to return it, and he said, come on, Andrew. And I go, oh, yeah. And he goes, you looking for your movie? And, I'm just shrinking as he's talking. And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, it's in there on the television. So I went and got it. He goes, I watched it. And I wanted the earth to swallow me. And I said, oh, you watched it? And he goes, yeah. He laughed. And I go, oh, you thought it was funny? He goes, well, it's accurate. And I said, it is. And he said, well, yeah, it's the Bible says the devil comes forth like a roaring lion, and Scripture. He starts quoting Scripture to me and said that it was an accurate depiction.
Oh, wow.
And I said, yeah, but it's scary. He goes, oh, that stuff doesn't scare me. I think it's silly. And I said, oh, okay. And I thought, wow, that was a weird. I was expecting him to go, why would you watch this trash?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he wasn't. He said, well, Scripture's, it's according to Scripture, it's accurate about the devil and how he acts and what he does and all this stuff. And I was surprised, man. So I'd say, and that's one of the weirdest directed movies, because The Exorcist is one of the first movies to set. I don't want to get all artsy fartsy talking about film weird stuff, but there is a powerful way to use silence in a movie, and a lot of people fill everything with sound and soundtrack. And now soundtrack and sound score is super powerful. But if silence is put in the right place at the right time, it can be equally as terrifying. And The Exorcist kind of did that in spots. And The Exorcist 3 is one of my favorite movies, which is actually 2. It's really 2 because it's the same writer, same director. Because of legal reasons, they weren't allowed to call it 2 because the movie studio made a part 2 without the original director, without the original writer, just to make money.
Okay.
So they had to call 3. But it picks up where 1 left off, and which is really weird. There's no nudity, no gore, no profanity that I can think of. If there is, it's extremely mild, but terrifying. And it's one of those movies, like all the things that make you get up and walk out of a movie theater don't happen in The Exorcist 3, but the dialogue is cringeworthy. And when he's talking to, the demon guy who's possessing a serial killer who's in a mental institution, and the conversation between George, have you seen it?
No.
Between Brad Dourif is the actor, and he's an amazing actor. And and I quote it as a joke sometimes, and Grace tells me to stop it. She says, "Drew, stop that." And I go, "I'm just being silly." And she goes, "It's creepy." And we're talking about lines that aren't even creepy. Like I say, I go, "Ooh, a few boos from the gallery," and she goes, "Drew," and I go, "Nobody else thinks it's creepy." She goes, "They will when they see the movie." And anyway, so it's it's been several years. So if somebody listening to this goes and watches it and says, "He's a pastor, you believe that he recommended that movie?" So if something nasty happens in it, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I don't remember anything in it being any of the. I don't even think it was rated R. I think it was PG.
Probably like PG-13, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. Because it was mostly dialogue driven. There were parts in it I didn't care for, but not because they were offensive.
Well, I mean, now if it has cigarettes in it, it's PG-13 or R.
Yeah, oh, wow.
They list it. Smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Remember when the Flintstones smoked on the commercials? "Bonnie, try one of these Winstons." These are great. A cool Winston goes with. You remember the black and white commercials you see with the Flintstones smoking Winston cigarettes?
Wow.
New recess cigarettes for kids.
Things have changed a little.
A little bit.
Yeah. And the way they talked back then in the 50s on everything was, "Hey, Johnny, do you like cigarettes? Your old man does. Don't you want to be like your old man, Johnny? Enjoy a cool, brand, refreshing cigarette. Clean out your lungs and whiten your smile." Those are the ads they would show before the movies. And we watch that stuff now and go, "Oh, my gosh, what were people thinking?"
What about talking about scary movies? Sixth Sense.
Oh, man, another amazing one. You know what's weird is, I don't know, when I watched that, I was trying the whole time to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
And then after I saw it, I'm like, I can't believe I didn't figure that out.
And then you go back
obvious.
and you watch it the next time, and it's obvious.
Yeah.
Did you figure it out when you watched it?
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think that is a masterpiece. When that came out, everyone thought, "Oh, he's going to be the next Hitchcock."
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan, and he's good. He's good. That movie just rocked my world. I couldn't believe the end. I thought, "Oh no."
So another movie that's got an ending like that, where you're just like, and you can't believe it. The Usual Suspects.
Usual Suspects.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Everyone told me I have to watch that.
Oh, it's epic. Another epic movie. And at the end, you will literally be out of your chair.
Okay. I'm
yelling at the TV. How did I not? Don't think that.
That's a Quentin Tarantino movie.
No.
No? I thought it was.
No.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Reservoir Dogs.
You're thinking of Reservoir. No, Usual Suspects was Brian De Palma.
Okay.
I think.
Right. Huh. I hear everyone tells me that about that movie. That's another thing that could be on the list. What movie have you not seen that when you tell someone you haven't seen it, people gather around and go, "What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? How did you not see this?" That's, for me, The Usual Suspects is one of them.
Yeah.
And people, I get that reaction a lot. I can't believe you haven't seen that.
I don't watch Jim Carrey movies.
Oh, Jackie.
Because I don't think he's funny.
Jackie.
So, yeah.
Well, now I don't watch Jim Carrey movies now because I think he's
Creepy.
wacko.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's hard. I'm too. When actors get real like political and wacky, and then their movies come out, I'm like, man, I got this image of you that I'm not really interested in seeing you act.
Like when Mel Gibson went on his rant.
No, Mel Gibson gets a pass because he did Passion of the Christ. Oh,
Yeah.
When he said what he said about Winona Ryder.
I don't remember what he said about Winona White, but I heard I heard his phone call of him yelling at his Russian girlfriend and coming undone, and the things he said. But I don't participate in the culture cancel stuff because getting caught being a jerk and running off at the mouth is something I've done a gazillion times in my life. But what I don't like is when people go out and start pushing their political views on me and constantly trying to weave that into conversations to influence me and stuff like that. Then I'm like, The only actor, and this is funny because Grace and I talk about this a lot. There's some people that they're so preachy with their politics, I just can't engage watching their movies. And I used to say this about Tom Cruise, but man, he is such a good actor. I can't. I said I'm not watching his movies after he jumped on that couch on Oprah. I said we're done.
Creepy Scientologist.
And then War of the Worlds come out, and I'm like, man, he's a good actor. And so, but there's some Jim Carrey. I know I went on a big witless jag, but Jim Carrey it's hard for me to. Man, his earlier stuff when he was a doofus is hysterical.
That was our first date.
That was great.
Really?
That was your first date
our
movie?
First date movie.
Which one?
Ace Ventura.
Pet Detective.
That's a great date movie.
I had to test her to see if she was gonna
Yeah.
Gonna make it.
fit the
That's
bill.
a great. Comedies are the best date movies because it totally disarms you. You can relax. There's nothing more cool and intimate, truthfully, than sharing laughter.
Right.
With a person. So that's cool. That's a good choice. That was a good choice.
What was the first movie you and Grace watched together?
300.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
There's some pretty heavy petting in that movie. And Grace pointed it out when we were watching it, and and she went, "Oh." She goes, "Nice, Drew. Good movie."
Like
I said, I didn't direct it. I didn't write it.
Yeah.
And she goes, "But you've seen it before." And I go, "Yeah, it's been a while." And I forgot about those scenes.
Yeah.
So my boss, when we were dating, he started dating one of the other technicians, older, and he's like, "What's a good movie?" And I'm like, "Oh, American Graffiti." And
That's a classic.
yeah, but I've only ever seen it edited for TV. Oh no! He's like, "Good choice, Kim." I'm like, "Sorry, I've only seen it on TV." So, but yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
different.
I didn't.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw it on the movie version. I think I've only seen it
Yeah.
on TV too.
Well, apparently there's a scene.
Yeah, which it makes total sense.
Yeah, but yeah, so
That was
yeah, so I have
George
to watch.
Lucas.
George Lucas.
I have to watch recommending movies that I've only seen edited for TV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done that. Well, now I'm really careful. I'm a pastor, and like what we just talked about a second ago, there's movies I haven't seen for a long, long time, and I'll tell someone, "We should watch this. It's good."
Yeah.
And they come back and go, "Oh, I was kind of surprised you recommended that, Pastor." And then I forget. Then I have to think back. Was there something in there I forgot about? And then I'm like, "Yeah, well." There are. Is there movies? Are there any movies you're ashamed to admit you like? You already jumped. You said a few. Or Pretty Woman, is that going to be another one?
Oh, yeah.
Steel Magnolias.
I have Pretty Woman. Dirty Dancing.
You know what? I
just-
thought that was going to be the first one to come up.
It was like required
I mean, you had
watching.
it,
for
yeah, it was
chicks.
high school.
We had to,
Yeah.
whether we liked it or not.
Yeah.
You can't be ashamed of that. Everybody
Yeah.
liked it. Everybody liked it. Is there one? But so no. But we've all got that movie that you like, and everybody else thinks is stupid. Sometimes there are movies I like because they're stupid.
My kids are always screaming at me because whenever I see The Magnificent Seven, the newer one, I watch it.
But
And
that was
they-
a good movie. I liked it.
It was well done.
Right, I thought it was a good movie, but they always say, "Well, you quit with this."
I haven't
Mothra.
seen
You
it.
always make them watch Mothra.
Oh, yeah,
I love Godzilla movies, and Mothra's terrible.
Wow. Yeesh.
Man, the Godzilla movies are great. Mothra's it moves too slow, and I say this because I watched it like 3 months ago.
It's just the dialogue, like those old Japanese kung fu movies. With I just have to watch it. It's funny.
It is.
He thinks
I
it's
like 'em too.
hilarious, but I'm just like, this is so stupid. I'll be in the kitchen.
Yeah.
See, we both love cheesy cinema, Grace and I. We will totally jump into that stuff together. And we watch stuff that's bad intentionally. We'll see something that, like from the 50s or 60s. It's like Mystery Science Theater 3000. You know how great that was? That's us watching these movies.
Yeah.
And I remember one time going to intentionally find a bad movie. I was with my buddy. We went to Blockbuster again. I said, here we go, dating myself. All the good stuff was out. I said, man, let's just try to find something that's awful. The most awful thing we can find, and it'll be fun. And so I found a movie called Hell Comes to Frogtown, starring Rowdy Roddy Piper. And it was like after the nuclear holocaust comes, a people half frog and half human. I'm like, this is the one, dude. And I never forgot the name.
What was it called?
Oh, his name was like Jason Hell or something like that. It was his last name. Hell Comes to Frogtown.
I'm writing that down right now.
Write it down. Hell Comes to Frogtown.
To Frogtown.
Yeah. So
I can't believe you never saw Magnificent Seven.
I probably saw the original.
Denzel
the new one's
Washington.
good.
The new one's Denzel, Chris
Pratt.
Pratt.
Denzel Washington's an awesome actor. So if he's in it, it's probably,
Yeah, it's a ton of really
Anything
good
Denzel.
actors.
It's funny. It's Western.
oh, it's a Western?
good.
I thought it was
Yeah.
a war flick.
No,
it's a
Magnificent
Western.
Seven?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Western.
thinking, okay. I'm thinking of something else. I know what I'm thinking of.
What's your dumb movie?
Dirty Dancing, probably.
Well, yeah.
Oh, you got to get
Or
dumber
Top
than that.
Gun.
That's a good movie. It's pretty popular.
I don't know.
Have you watched on Netflix the movies that made us?
Yes.
Those are good.
Those are good.
The new
I
ones
like
just came out today.
documentaries. Did they really?
Yeah, it's Forrest Gump, Jurassic Park, and two others. I forget.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah. Have you watched it?
No.
You guys should watch it. It's good.
It's like behind the scenes of how a movie got made.
See, we saw that one for Elf.
but it's
I saw
better
Elf
than a behind the scenes.
behind the scenes for Elf.
Yeah. Okay, so my movie, you might actually know my stupid movie, Slapshot.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't watch Slapshot.
It is so bad.
Yes.
It is so horrible, and it comes on the TV, and I watch it. I'm putting on the foil, coach. You know?
Oh my goodness.
Is that like Dodgeball?
Oh,
You know the
Dodgeball, yeah.
Dodgeball?
But with,
Yeah.
but with
I
hockey.
didn't. Oh, yeah.
Dodgeball.
Christopher
Crashers.
Walken has a guest appearance in that, doesn't
Yeah.
he? Christopher Walken, yeah.
Ping pong.
Bang, bang.
Ping pong.
So, did everyone say they're bad, cheesy movies?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one, I can't remember the name of it. I just watched. It's got John Boy Walton on it.
Oh, God.
It's after Star Wars came out. It's a total ripoff of Star Wars. When Hollywood said, when other writers and directors saw Star Wars and said, that's easy. And then they all tried to make something that was just unwatchable. And John Boy Walton's in it. And it's not Galaxy Quest. That's oh my goodness. I wish I could remember the name. It's just so horrible. And I watch it. I look for it sometimes.
Oh, jeez.
Grace and I love the old Sinbad movies too, with Ray Harryhausen's animation, all that with the
You mean
gargoyles
like,
and the skeletons with the swords.
Oh, the three-eyed thing.
I love that. We
Like
love
Wrath
that.
of the Titans or
Clash of the
Clash of the
Yes,
Titans?
that kind of stuff. The old ones with
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
motion animation.
When it was so bad, and the
What's that?
owl.
Yes.
Was that Harry Hamlin?
Yes.
Yeah, Harry Hamlin was in
2
that.
points to you.
Yeah.
That was one of the later movies where they did that stuff, though, because that was at the tail end of the stop motion animation era. Before that, they went clear back to black and white monsters. Anyway, so
Well, under worst movies I've ever seen, and then when you look up a list of the top movies of all time, this comes up as one of the best. But it's called There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
With Daniel Day-Lewis.
I didn't see it.
I
I
thought
like
that
it.
was horrendous.
I like it.
So I actually said to my brother, he was having his kids over and their wives, and he said, "You know a movie that's good?" I said, "Yeah, There Will Be Blood." I just did it as a joke.
Yeah.
And he went and got it, and a whole bunch watched it. And the next day he said, "What is wrong with you?"
Terrible. You've done that? You've intentionally recommended a bad movie?
Yeah, just it was a joke.
That's I can't, I don't know. That's cruel
It's
and
very-
unusual punishment.
It's very long, and you know Daniel Day-Lewis is
Method actor.
He's a method actor, so it consumes him, and he gets real weird. So,
I've not seen it.
He's leasing gas rights or
yeah,
oil rights.
oil rights. So he gets it's.
Put that on your list, Drew.
No, I'm not going to put that on my list. I'm not going to put that on my list. What movie could you watch over and over?
Besides The Godfather?
But yeah. Oh, I guess we kind of covered that, didn't we? We all kind of said The Godfather.
See, in our house, there are DVDs that we just don't put away. And it's the James Bond movies. They just sit out on the TV stand. They're just out.
Right.
Because we're going to watch them.
Sure.
And then Alien and Aliens and Predator and Predators. They're just there. Like any day of the week, that's what we're going to watch.
That's like me I'm with that with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars stuff, yeah.
I like Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was such a huge deal when it came out.
I'm not a Matt Damon fan because of the whole political stuff, but I always watch Bourne,
Yeah,
the
Bourne's
Bourne
good.
Oh,
trilogy.
those are so
The-
good.
I only saw the first one. It was phenomenal.
They're really
You
good.
didn't
they're
watch the
good.
other two?
You gotta
No.
watch it. Yeah.
No.
I have them if you want to borrow them.
No,
I
maybe.
thought the next two were better.
I thought they were great.
I only saw the first one, which is called Born Identity, I think.
Yeah. Then there's Supremacy and
Jason.
made 'em.
We didn't see the last one,
Yeah, we did.
did we?
But it doesn't stick in your head. I don't think it was.
yeah.
Mission Impossible. I like those too.
Oh,
Tom
yeah.
Cruise.
They're entertaining.
I didn't see him. That's
They're entertaining. You
Yeah.
you kind of forget about them
So-
after a
some of
couple
these
days.
movies that come out now, like Fast and Furious. I've never seen one of them, and I
Yeah,
see the
I've seen-
previews, and it
They're
just looks
so
like total cheese
stupid.
whiz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
To me.
never watched that.
Yeah.
I like Secondhand Lions.
Oh, that was a great movie.
So yeah,
That was such a good movie.
yeah. There's like movies that were just that we say, oh, come here, guys, you got to watch this movie. Like
Yeah.
that's one of them that we made the kids watch.
I'm like that with Mr. Church. Mr.
Yes,
Ch-
and I watched that. I
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. That is one of my favorite movies. And it's weird. It's like I was talking about earlier. It's nothing. It doesn't get too heavy, but it's just like a real life stuff that is heavy. But the movie doesn't. I don't know. It's just something about it. It has a pace. It has a pace
Yes.
to it that's like things that happen in real life. And have you seen it?
No.
You
You were talking about it before, though.
You
It's
said
on
Eddie
my
Murphy.
list.
It's on. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
I think it is, yeah.
It's not what you would expect from Eddie Murphy. It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yep. We're getting close to the end. I think we didn't put anything on our list. Maybe because it's not Christmas, but doesn't everyone have to have a shout out for one Christmas movie that you can't it's like you said earlier when people say your top 5, you can't really say your favorite because there's so many.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair to say one that you have to watch every Christmas,
Just
maybe
religiously,
two
yeah.
or three times because there's a lot of good ones. Kim,
It's a Wonderful Life.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
what I put down, but every year we always watch Elf, too.
I mean, that's the kids' favorite.
I just turned Grace onto that, and she liked it. She fought it. I don't want to watch. That's dumb. I don't feel like that. And then we watched it. She goes, "That's pretty good."
yeah.
For me, it's White Christmas.
White Christmas. I've never got through that. I don't.
It's long. It is a long
It's a musical
movie.
too.
Yeah.
I
But it's
struggle
about-
with that, and I'm a musician.
No. But it's about, at its core, it's about veterans and a retiring veteran and everything that they do for this veteran.
I'm going to watch it because I've seen
Okay.
every other one.
We'll follow the old man wherever he wants to go. And he's at the end and
Never seen it.
Nope. Same.
Never seen it either. I'm the same. I still have your book.
Yeah.
well,
It's
it's a
Wonderful
musical.
Life.
It is a chick flick.
I'm the same with It's a Wonderful Life. It's like part Twilight Zone, part Christmas, part God, part
Merry Christmas,
life.
movie house.
Merry Christmas, movie. Wow, you're just a scurvy little spider in the overall theme. That's what you are. That's what you are. And I don't want to be a potty. Take your little. I can't.
I have to tell you, we have all those old celebrity roast things with Dean Martin.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
He was loaded all the time. Every time he was on television, he was loaded.
but Jimmy Stewart is on most of them, and he's hammered, and he is hilarious.
Oh, I have no doubt he's hilarious.
He's talking about he fell in the water while I was filming a Western with Dean Martin, and Dean Martin tried to give me mouth to mouth, and I got intoxicated. And it just,
When we talk about the Good Old Boys Club,
Yeah.
it's that era.
yeah.
I saw him in an interview. They asked him, I think he was Johnny Carson, and he said, "What's your favorite scene you're most proud of acting?" Blah 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 blah. And Jimmy Stewart, he was old by this time. He said it was the scene where he broke down crying in the bar on "It's a Wonderful Life." He said that's the scene he was most proud of in terms of an actor. Remember, that's where he lost it and he started breaking down. I thought that was pretty amazing.
No, it's a good movie.
So that I have to. If I don't see Christmas Vacation or some of these other movies that everyone says they love, I'm okay. But I have to put in "It's a Wonderful Life."
Die Hard.
I'm Die Hard. With
Yeah,
Die Hard.
Die Hard, best Christmas
Die
movie
Hard's
ever.
a Christmas movie.
Such a cool. Oh, Die Hard. Oh no, it's not. No, it is not a Christmas movie.
Mike has Die
The
Hard
ultimate-
Christmas T-shirts
Oh, does it?
for the whatever the name of the building was, Christmas party. You know,
Nakanomi
Tower.
Okay.
Yeah.
something like that. It's the old debate. It's a movie that takes place during Christmas. But while we're on the topic, wow, when that movie came out.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was nothing like it.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Again,
We went to the theater. That's in the movies that made us.
Yeah.
You guys got to watch that stuff.
That was
It's not
interesting.
like your typical behind the scenes stuff. It's different. It's good stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, when it came out, it blew me away. I hadn't seen anything that set a new standard. Like for action adventure, I'd never really seen movies that I thought could be as good as they were with action adventure. Die Hard was one of them, but I think the first one that blew my doors off was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because I saw previews, I'm like, well, Han Solo, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's got a whip and a gun. I'm like, oh, whatever. And then
They're making
everyone
a fifth
said,
one.
everyone said,
Oh, yeah.
they need to stop it.
He got
I know.
hurt, didn't he?
Yeah. So he's not going to be in most
Probably
of it.
he's old. He probably got hurt peeling an orange. I mean,
And I love him so much, but
know.
it's like, oh,
I do too.
Just go home and go to bed. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
they got to
Just
be
don't hate
passing the
yourself.
torch. They got to pass the torch. They're probably, as long as they don't pass it to Shia LaBeouf.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, he's another guy that's kind of out there when you.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch him. His movies, you're like, dude, I know what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
I don't really want to
He
watch your
got
movies.
weird.
Yeah, exactly.
He got real weird.
No, the kids just, Abe, Grace, and Emily went last night to see The Black Widow.
Oh, okay.
What did
they
they
like
think?
it?
They all liked it.
Yeah.
So they said, I'd recommend that one.
I'm a huge comic book nerd for decades since I was a kid. So I know about that stuff. That's good. They liked Black Widow.
They did. I'm a DC.
You're a DC?
I am.
But what about what they did to Wonder Woman?
I know. I mean, I like The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight was
Batman.
amazing.
Even when Michael Keaton was Batman, I watched those.
But I'm not looking forward to Twilighty Robert Pattinson being Batman.
No.
I'm never a DC person. I'm a Marvel person since I was a kid, and I know everything about the DC universe except for Batman. Batman is awesome, and as a kid, I think growing up reading comics, the problem with DC comics for me was the characters were too perfect. They were too superior, too unbeatable.
Except for Batman. He was just a messed
except for
up
Batman.
kid.
Yeah.
And then that's how Marvel came to rise, because they said we need characters that have problems and people that have issues. Tony Stark's an alcoholic,
Yeah.
Spider-Man's just a kid. I mean, all these different things, and they used real cities, and DC made up fake cities: Keystone City, Metropolis, these Gotham. No, they don't exist.
Yeah.
So you had these two different schools of thought. Now, as a grown-up, if DC put out quality stuff, I would love it because I know everything about the DC universe because I'm a comic fan, and I don't hate DC or anything, but they just haven't. Marvel has left them in the dust with writing, storytelling, and it's movies. In the past 15 years, have just caught up to comics. They can just now They're just now able to show what the things that are happening in the comic books. I mean, with special effects.
Yeah.
So what are your comic book movies?
Well, like the kids are watching Marvel, and I walk in and it's Endgame.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
I haven't watched the movie Endgame.
Avengers Endgame.
Avengers Endgame. Yeah.
Yeah. So I walk into that. I've watched Iron Man, and then I go, who's this guy?
Yeah, you were
what's
probably
this
like-
chaos?
Dude, that's not. Yeah, you're not gonna.
No, so we started, Grace wanted to see them from, in order.
Right.
So we've started. So I think we're about to the fourth one now.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's best to watch them. You got a lot of watching to do, but if
Yeah.
you watch the individual movies, so I was just thinking about that. Loki and all the stuff. They're doing what they did in the comics. They're taking all of these stories in this universe and they're branching out. They're doing a fantastic job, I think. But when Daredevil was on Netflix, and I think it was.
We saw the first season.
Did you? You did?
Yep,
did you
first
like
season.
it?
I did. He's not. So again, here's where
It gets better and better and better.
he has the control. Like I like those kind of movies, and he's more like,
Say no, Kim.
It
no
was
Kim, no Kim.
It gets better and better
it was
and
a
better.
slow burn,
Controller.
though.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grace loved it too.
bad.
We loved it. It's Daredevil is gritty and. Did you see it?
Yeah.
On
Oh, yeah.
Netflix. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay, I
But-
loved it. I thought it was true to the comics.
But it was a slow burn. You did have to get through several episodes before you were like,
Here,
all right, I kind of believe the blind dude can like ninja chop an entire group of people.
Well, we
Maybe.
watched season 1 and it was okay, but not enough to go watch season 2.
Oh, I totally disagree. Season 2, it gets better and better and better as it goes. Because, well, when I read comics, Daredevil was one of my favorite characters by favorite artists and favorite writers, Michael Bendis and John Mack, not John Mack. Anyway, it's gritty. It takes place in a ghetto type in Hell's Kitchen. It's not guys in spaceships against alien threats and all this stuff. It's mob boss lawyers and gangs, and so it's like more believable. And I just got immersed in the storytelling in the comic books because in the 80s they switched the demographics of comics towards the end of the 80s. They quit writing them for 12 and 13 and 15-year-old boys because the boys they wrote them for grew up and were young men now.
Right.
Okay.
And they're having their families. So the writing got more mature, and I don't mean more mature like nudity and profanity. I mean more cerebral. And so men were still buying comic books, and now kids are smarter. So kids are on board with it. They're like, cool, don't insult my intelligence. Let me read Daredevil. So the comics grew up with the people. And so that's why I liked Daredevil. It was always I'm looking at people watching. She's writing down how much time we've been talking.
Yeah.
So
Are we over?
We're
yeah.
getting
Well,
close.
we should wrap up soon.
Yeah.
So
I just don't want to run out of card.
yeah, we won't. I fixed that problem.
No, that's true.
We can sit here for 3 hours. We're fine.
We probably could with this topic.
I know,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm looking at our list to see.
Yeah,
Well, one of
because
the-
like The Fugitive, we didn't talk. Like that was one of I liked
Fugitive
it.
was a great movie.
Yeah,
I got a great story about that. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's one that I watch.
yeah. That's one. If it's
All
on,
the
you
time.
stop.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The first one.
With Harrison.
Yes.
Yes.
Not the Wesley Snipes one.
No, I never even watched it.
I didn't either.
No,
I was like,
Harrison Ford. No.
With Harrison Ford is the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
I was in Cleveland when that was a big hit, right? And so our drummer and me, we went out to see it, and so we're in the theater, and at the end of the movie, close to the end of the movie, Harrison Ford's running down. He's running, and there's a helicopter chasing him.
Right.
And the film melts, and you can see it on the screen. The bulb burnt the film, and the film stopped.
oh.
And I was like, "What is happening?" And everybody's looking at each other, mumbling and grumbling, and then they come down and say, "Sorry, folks, we're sorry." And the lights come up, and we're still waiting and waiting and waiting. And the theater manager comes down and said, "You have to, we'll have to refund your money." I said, "Well, are you showing it in another theater?" He goes, "No, that's the only." And then so there were these two ladies. They were like white-haired little old ladies. Foul mouth.
Oh, no.
Well, they're in Cleveland. And, I mean, they're like F-bombs and all that. They were just, I don't know what they wanted him to do, but even I was chuckling going, listen to these old ladies, man. They're like, they're in this for real. They're mad. And so the manager said, for people who want to know how it ended, go over there. For people who don't, come over here. They had another employee telling people. Because it was that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. So I got my money back, and I didn't want to know. I just left.
I was going to say, if they tell you the end, they keep your money.
yeah. That was my. That happened twice. It happened on the last Jurassic Park movie, or the one before. I took my daughter to see it. There's a scene at the end where the giant dinosaur. Did you see it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the T-Rex, and then the thing comes up out of the water, at the park to come down and bite.
Yeah.
And right when it was coming out of the water, the film stopped. And it's digital now.
Yeah.
So, but for whatever reason, they couldn't show it. It was permanently done, permanently damaged. And it wasn't a film burn, but they refunded our money again.
Okay.
And I told my daughter, I go, this happened to me when I saw The Fugitive. And, so we walk out of the theater. I think we went back the next day with a gift certificate and watched it. But that's been twice that's happened. Has that ever happened to you?
It's just
No.
bad luck.
No.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I like theaters because no one can tell me to turn down the volume. My wife at home said, Drew, turn it down. I want the sound to blow the eyebrows off my face. I want the full immersive experience.
So that's what I wondered. We didn't get to that question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like theater too.
It's part of our culture. The
Yeah.
smell of popcorn, the red
Yeah.
light, the
Yeah.
the red carpet, and the
Yeah, but
lights.
there's always some annoying
Kid
kid near right beside you.
Yeah.
talking.
I don't.
I want silence. When
Yeah,
I'm
I do
watching a
too.
movie, don't talk to me.
Or
Don't
don't-
ask me questions.
Right.
Don't say, who's that guy? Was he in that thing with that one? No.
Yeah.
I
I'm-
can't watch movies with Jackie.
No.
Honestly, that's because my wife's a chatter,
Ah.
and we're watching a movie, and I pause it when she asks me
pause
something. I
it.
go, yeah. My face, you can see it. And I go, and I'll go, and then I'll hit pause again. And go, what's that? And I know what my face looks like because I can feel it. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're making a jerk look on your face, Drew. Stop it. So, and then she'll be saying something like, I'm hungry. I shouldn't be hungry, but I'm hungry. And it'll be like where the Titanic is where they're on the Titanic. And I'm like, okay, so you want to get a pizza? Oh, no, what do you want? I go, well, the ship is sinking. Like,
Yeah.
it's about to crack in half. So you want to?
So you want a pizza?
Sorry, Drew. Unpause it.
It's like,
Yeah.
you're
I'm like,
watching.
I know that.
So yeah. So I'm like, okay. So yeah, she could be chatty, and
That's my biggest pet peeve.
chatters.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to hear, and then
Yeah.
they'll talk, and then they'll go, what's he doing? Well, hello.
I
Yeah.
would know if you would stop talking.
Or they get up and leave the rumors. Like they go out there for Grace will go out in the kitchen and do something, and I'll hear her baby talking to the cat. And I'm like, so I'll pause it, and she'll go from the kitchen. You don't have to pause it, let it play.
Yeah.
And then I'll let it play, and she'll come in. She'll sit down. She goes, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
And I go, "Okay, see, listen,
Yeah.
we got to make some rules. Got to make some rules."
I always tell her. She'll say, pause it. And I'll say, I'll catch you up.
I don't like him catching me up because he misses the details that I like. But anyway, or I'm so bad at remembering the names that if it's a certain actor, I'll call him by something else. Like in The Godfather, I'm like, well, what's Fish doing?
Yeah, call him by what you know him as.
Yeah.
Fish. Yeah, I do that too. I say like Al Pacino went over and talked to
Yeah.
James Caan instead of Sonny and Mike.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm
Yeah.
driving
Where
crazy.
you and I are quoting it line for line,
Yeah.
word for word.
Yep.
Don't mess it up. That Frico guy. No. Fredo. His name
Fredo.
is Fredo.
Yeah.
Fredo. Did you ever see that movie? Analyze This.
Yes.
Did you see that?
No.
Think.
It wasn't very good.
It wasn't a very good movie, but there was a cool line in it. It was De Niro. He played a mob boss that was going to see a shrink. And
Oh, yeah.
the shrink was Billy Crystal, and in the movie, he's a mob boss, and he was in The Godfather too. So he's talking to Billy Crystal, and Billy Crystal goes, "Oh, I had a dream, and it was a terrible dream." And he said, "Well, what'd you dream?" And he said, "Well, we were outside of it was like The Godfather, and we were outside of this market, and Vito was getting shot, and he dropped the oranges, and then you got out and you dropped the gun." You fumbled around and dropped the gun, and Robert De Niro goes, "I was Fredo?" and he goes,
funny.
"Yeah." He goes, "Yeah." And he goes, and De Niro goes, "I don't think so." And I was like, I thought that was really hysterical.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta close out, guys.
Yeah,
what
we're
do you want
talking
to wind
off
up
of
with?
this.
What's your? I don't know. What's your last final thoughts on?
That there's nothing. You had a question there that what we've recently watched.
Yeah. Is there anything recent that you've seen that's been good? Because I've seen a bunch of crap.
Well, it's
Well-
like nothing's been released since COVID. The last movie that I saw in the theater before COVID shut everything down was I Still Believe. But
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
We never got into Christian movies.
Christian
since then.
movies, I know.
know.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about that. That could actually be a whole podcast.
Yeah.
On just Christian films.
Or movies that are close to it.
But I will say now, for me, it's still a passion. I mean, but there's tons of them that I like. I mean, I like the ones that look like Hallmark cards too. I still watch Ten Commandments just because it is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it may be lacking in some realism in some of the parts, but it's it's beautiful to look at.
That's a given. You got to watch that one.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I watched The Shack because I read the book. I like that book.
Chick movie.
I like Facing the
That chick
Giants.
book, too.
There's a lot of.
I like Risen. Risen was
good.
Risen was good because there's a lot of Christian movies that are just horrible because they follow this recipe that's just predictable and they don't want to branch out into realism like
God's Not Dead, which was a very good movie, but now that
that's
is a recipe.
That's like an after school special.
Yeah.
Back from when they made it. Right. So it's like
and now the other God's Not Dead 2 was basically the same movie.
It's a
And then
formula.
God's
Yeah.
Not Dead 3,
Yeah.
you know.
Not like you say Mr. Church.
Mr.
There's
Church.
always a frog.
That's a
breath away.
frog's- yep.
Yeah. And then like I think about Greater. That was the football story. It's based on a true story.
Arkansas football player. It's on Netflix.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
It's pretty
It's called
good.
Greater.
Greater.
Greater. Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
But new movies. Somebody just told me the other day to watch Ice Road on Netflix. Liam Neeson. Did you watch that?
Her head hanging down. I haven't.
Or was that a joke? Is that my brother getting back at me?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Muppet movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Is
was
it?
your brother getting back at you.
You need to watch the Muppet movie. Epic.
The Muppet, oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to recommend bad things.
Liam Neeson is
Space Jam.
He has a very specific set of skills, and this time it's on ice.
Is it really?
I
Is it
like
Liam
taking-
Neeson?
It is
Drives a
Liam Neeson.
Zamboni.
Zamboni.
He does
No.
drive a Zamboni at some point, but he drives trucks
In a
on
world.
ice.
In a world where in a world.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that guy's voice.
But there is a great. You have to look it up. It's the guy that does all the voices for like the Family Guy, Seth
Seth MacFarlane.
MacFarlane. He does Kermit the Frog, doing Liam Neeson. I have a very particular
Yeah.
set of skills.
I have a very particular set of skills.
I'm going to hunt you
down. I've seen, yeah.
I'm going to find you. We could do this all day.
We could do this all night. I'm gonna eat that baby. Get in my belly. Wee man, I'll be back for you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yep.
We've
All right.
talked about doing a podcast where we just read the Bible doing voices.
Doing voices.
You know,
be
Peter
good.
would be Samuel L. Jackson. You know, I suppose I can't do that on the podcast. No.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him. I don't know. That was terrible. That was terrible.
Would you take out of his fridge? Would you go in his fridge?
We should have done that with Star Wars.
Yeah, we should have.
Finn, Poe, and BB-8. Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's awful. Sounds
Anyway.
like better when I do it in the kitchen. I don't know. Yeah, so, okay, all right. Man, we've covered a lot of ground, but
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff we'll do movies again. Yeah.
Yeah, we better
Wow, this is
stop.
the longest podcast in history. Okay.
Is that,
But these are
the
great because
longest one.
people listen and then they correct us.
Yeah.
Like they're listening going, "Oh, you idiot, that movie was terrible. You didn't even bring up Titanic."
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, that's true.
Yeah.
So, and if the, yeah. Okay. Well, hey, that was good. All right. Here we're closing out. So thank you. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Had a blast talking about this stuff. We will have you back to talk about more fun stuff.
All right.
Awesome.